Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Thursday, January 4th, 2024. I'm your host, John June, and of course, I got to have my guy, Greg Penniman, with me. Greg, how we doing, man?
Doing well. Finishing the season out. Glad that we don't have any, Thursday night game. That means we could just put all our focus onto Saturday and Sunday. We got some really good ones. It makes sense definitely for definitely the playoff aspects to the game as well. Like they all should be playing around the same time. It's got a couple basically early playoff games this week, so it'll be exciting. Mute.
You got some playing games, and with that comes, it creates a playoff-like atmosphere for these players, for the fans. I'm sure obviously from a football perspective, Greg, but from a basketball perspective, a win and in situation, it creates this playoff type energy, man. So, yep. It's definitely nice to see that for sure.
Incentive week too, the week, people trying to get those extra sign bonuses and stuff too. So interesting as well.
Chasing that paper.
yeah, man.
Also got some guys chasing some records, which we'll talk about as well. So week 18, again, not gonna, judge people for their life choices that they make. We've all made terrible life choices, but I strongly encourage you all not to play in a week 18 championship, man. Like just the way this week started where you're getting alerts like, Patrick
CMC
Mahomes is sitting, CMC is out,
yep.
Brock Purdy's not playing.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, none of those guys are playing.
Yeah.
So like just right there, it's just like, why do you even want to do that to yourself?
Yeah,
to stress
that's not
yourself
a true measurement of who the best fantasy team was throughout the season too. So it's not accurate.
No, definitely not accurate. But alas, here we are. Like you said, Greg, we got some Saturday games, 2 Saturday games. The rest of them are on Sunday. We didn't get stuck with just 4 p.m. games, which is nice. And they're all 4:25 kickoffs, which is also nice. And then cap it with a basically AFC East title game here on Sunday Night Football. So should be really fun. But without further ado, Greg, let's kind of jump into those streams of the week. And I'll kick it off here, man, with my quarterback stream of the week. And this is what you get for playing in week 18. Because I already go deep in the bag anyway. We don't need any other reasons for me to go deep in the bag. But here we are.
That's the bag. That's the top of the bag.
This is the bag, right? So my quarterback stream of the week is Tyler Huntley going up against Pittsburgh. 0% rostered, available in 100% of your Yahoo leagues. And again, this is what you get for playing in week 18, man. Tyler Huntley as a stream of the week. He's been serviceable in different spots throughout his career, filling in for Lamar Jackson, for injury a lot of times. But, he's had some nice moments. Obviously, we traced that rushing upside with him. Gets a matchup against Pittsburgh that allows the 13th most fantasy points to the quarterback position over their last 3 games. And again, just chasing that rushing upside, hoping maybe he gets in the end zone here. And Tyler Huntley, man, go get him.
Yeah, man. Definitely like that right there.
Greg, your quarterback stream of the week.
Yeah, going with Gardner Minshew, going against Houston, one of the few players starting ready to go. One of the other playing games, kind of essentially, this 3-way tie for the NFC South title. Going against Houston, he's 32% roster, so a little bit up there for week 18, I would say. But yeah, he's got a must-win for him. Definitely has a great matchup on the outside, especially with his receivers. Michael Pittman is in a smash spot as well. His receivers, Josh Downs, getting some deep balls last week as well. So I think Gardner Minshew is in for a big day in this game.
Yeah, definitely a big game. It's interesting, right? I think Jacksonville, if they win, they basically win the AFC South.
Okay.
I don't know what Houston can still they can still win the AFC South. They can also still win make the playoffs potentially as well if a few things fall their way. But um, I think essentially the winner of this game just hopes that the Jacksonville Jags lose on Sunday, and then therefore, they'll then make the playoffs. But let's see what happens. Obviously, we're going to break down that game in a little bit. But my tight end stream of the week, going with Tanner Hudson, available in 95% of your Yahoo leagues. He's been up and down, not a big ceiling here with Hudson, but he's in a nice matchup versus Cleveland. They allow the seventh most PPR points to the position over their last three games. And if you're looking for a tight end to basically not flop, Hudson's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just in general, he's definitely provided some type of floor. I think he's definitely a solid option this week.
Yes, sir. Greg, what about you? Where are you going this week?
Well, Hunter Henry versus the Jets, 25% rostered. I think this is a solid matchup for him. I think this offense has kind of been passing offense is going to go to two guys, Hunter Henry and Demario Douglas. So I think they kind of locked down that area. And with the attention being on Demario, I think Hunter Henry will have some opportunities to get in the end zone.
Yeah, I like that one too, man. I mean, he's been dealing with some injuries these last couple weeks, so he's been out, and the matchup against the Jets is a good one for the tight end. Obviously we saw what Njoku did in a half, so definitely like that one. My defensive stream of the week, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against Carolina. They are rostered in just 38% of Yahoo leagues. Basically, they need to win the NFC South, and they play the Panthers. Analysis complete.
Yeah, pretty much. That was nice right there.
And Greg, what about you, man? Where are you going?
I'm going with New England, sticking down that side, going against the Jets, 22% rostered. Just one they do have owned this matchup for the last couple years. It feels like. So I think if anyone knows how to finish the season strong, get some turnovers, definitely Bill Belichick versus the Jets.
Yeah, definitely. Belichick going to go out with a bang there against the Jets for the 16th
Yeah,
straight
possibly his
time.
last Patriot called game. Like he's got to go hard. He's got to.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. All right, let's break down the action as far as the football goes, starting with Saturday, 4:30 p.m. The 9-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. That is right. Mike Tomlin will not have a losing season. 9-7 Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Baltimore to take on the 13-3 Baltimore Ravens. Now the Ravens are sitting a lot of their players in this game, a lot of their starters, and so the Ravens are 4-point home dogs in a game with a 35.5-point total. Baltimore's already clinched the 1 seed. They're not playing for anything. Pittsburgh, they basically could use a ton of help. Not a ton of help. A lot of things have to go their way, but most of them include them winning. And that is basically them winning and a Buffalo loss, or them winning and a Jacksonville loss or tie, or Pittsburgh wins and Houston and Indy tie. So basically, Pittsburgh kind of has to win and then hope that they get some help on Sunday and potentially Saturday. But I'm going to go with the over here. I'm going to say that the Ravens cover the 4, but I'm going to say Pittsburgh wins the game here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under, but I'm gonna take Ravens to cover and Pittsburgh to win as well.
Yeah, man. It's a weird week, but like I said, Huntley's my stream of the week. Like a possible QB1 performance here potentially against the Steelers because of the rushing upside. I think it's impossible to trust any other Ravens option. I mean, I find it really hard to trust any Raven. I'm not even going to speculate on a name.
No. Yeah, there's no need to get cute in week 18 if you're playing, you're in a championship, your roster's kind of solidified. If you're adding anyone to your roster, you either had an injury and you really need someone that could make a real impact to your team. So yeah, that's not him here.
I would pay attention to any of the news reports, right? The early, like if like a Melvin Gordon is active for
I think
whatever reason.
he will be. He has probably the best name you could probably ask for of all the ratings besides Tyler Huntley. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I would probably like to play him potentially if that was the case, but I would
Yeah.
need confirmation of that. On the Pittsburgh side, it's a lot easier, right? I like Pittsburgh. They're going to be playing against the Ravens backups on defense. So gotta like Najee Harris and Jalen
Mhm.
Warren, and both had big games last week. I think George Pickens, you can treat him as a wide receiver one. I mean, he's been on a tear lately. And then Deontay Johnson, I'll probably have him as a wide receiver three, but probably I should have him probably closer to a wide receiver two the more that I think about it.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah.
Any interest in Freiermuth?
No.
Moving on to this next game, the 9-7 Houston Texans traveling to Indianapolis to take on the 9-7 Indianapolis Colts. This game has a 47.5 point total where the Houston Texans are 1.5 point favorites. I did do some digging. Both these teams can win the AFC South. They just need to win, and they need Jacksonville to lose. But both these teams, all they have to do to make the playoffs is win this game. So there's a lot at stake here for both of these teams. And the winner of this game will make it to the playoffs, either representing the, as a wild card team or representing the AFC South, assuming Jacksonville loses. So that being said, Greg, where are you going with this one?
Definitely going back and forth with this. They're gonna two teams that are well coached. It's gonna be really tough, but I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna go with the over. I'm gonna take Houston to cover and Houston to win.
Yeah, I got it the same exact way. I'm just upset that we got robbed of an Anthony Richardson,
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud potential playoff like game in this one here. Would have been great to see it, but that being said, Greg, how do you feel about the Houston Texans pieces in this game?
Yeah, for Houston, I think the usual suspects are back. I think CJ Stroud matchup is much better from last week as well. So you got to lock him in as a QB1. You're locking in. I love Devin Singletary's matchup this week as well. I think he slides in as a borderline RB1. So definitely high in RB2 for me. And then as far as the receivers, Nico Collins, Noah Browns are your guys. Nico Collins being a wide receiver one, Noah Brown being a flex option.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I would throw in Dalton Schultz as a tight end one option for sure.
Yeah.
Minshew, your quarterback stream of the week, I have him as a borderline QB1. I mean, in a week like this, the quarterback position almost like mirrors the tight end position, where like any of these guys could finish as a QB1 this week, honestly, without the usual suspects. So, Michael Pittman Jr., I think he's got to have him as a wide receiver one, as well as Jonathan Taylor being an RB1 at his position. The matchup is a little bit tough, but I don't think we particularly care for that when it comes to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, they're going to be in that red zone. He's going to have scoring opportunities. I wouldn't be surprised if he continues that touchdown streak right now.
Most definitely. And moving on to that game was Saturday, 8:15 p.m. Moving on to the Sunday games. The first 1:00 game we're going to cover in this segment here, the 7-9 Atlanta Falcons traveling to New Orleans to take on the 8-8 New Orleans Saints. This game has a 42.5 point total where the New Orleans Saints are 3-point favorites. In terms of the playoff implications in this game, we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday, but if Atlanta wins and Tampa Bay loses, they win the NFC South. That is literally the only way they can make the playoffs is by winning the NFC South. There's no other shot. For the New Orleans Saints, they can win this game. Tampa Bay has to lose. That would then give them the NFC South. However, if they tie this game and Tampa Bay loses, that would also give them the NFC South. However, New Orleans can still clinch a playoff berth with a win a Seattle loss or tie plus a Green Bay loss or tie, or a New Orleans tie, a Seattle loss, and a Green Bay loss. So either way, I know I said a lot there. New Orleans basically has more than one way to make the playoffs here, but their best shot of doing that is winning this game. So all of that being said, on the Atlanta side, I can't trust anybody not named Bijan Robinson, and even him, I don't trust as much. I mean, really what I'm saying is I don't trust Arthur Smith, but I would like to think in this game here, with the matchups being what they are, with on the outside for Drake London, the tight ends that I'm not going to speak of, Bijan Robinson, I think, is in the best spot of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I agree with you. You would think in a kind of must-win game for Arthur Smith, he would rely on his stars heavily, but yeah, no, we're just going Bijan. We're gonna stick with it, keep it simple.
Yeah, on the New Orleans side, it's a little bit easier to decipher. Potentially no Alvin Kamara. I mean, that ankle injury looked relatively bad. So I think we're going to get Jamal Williams, who obviously, Greg, you shouted out on the waiver show on Tuesday. I think he'll be in there as a potential RB1 just because of the volume that he could get in a matchup like this and the touchdown opportunity. Outside of that, I think Chris Olave slides in as a wide receiver too. And Juwan Johnson, I think you got to just continue to ride the hot hand here as a potential tight end one.
Yeah, totally agree. All of that.
All right, moving on to our next matchup here. The 11-5 Cleveland Browns traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 8-8 Cincinnati Bengals. This game has a 37.5-point total, where the Cincinnati Bengals are 7-point favorites. And you probably ask me, John, how could the Cincinnati Bengals be 7-point favorites against the GOAT, the elite Joe Flacco? And that answer is simple, because Joe Flacco is not playing in this game. And I don't know how many of the starters for Cleveland are actually going to play in this game. So on the Cleveland side, I don't think I'm trusting much of anybody outside of if there's like some players that we know are actually going to be playing, maybe some younger guys like a Cedric Tillman potentially.
For the Cedric Tillman train for sure.
Then that's about it. But I find it like Harrison Bryant is a name I thought of, but at that point we're kind of just like we're speculating really at that point. Yeah. But Greg, what are your thoughts on the Cleveland side?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm thinking I'm just with Cedric Tillman. That's my like one deep bag reach of the week 18. I'm definitely go there. I think he in this matchup, especially it is a good one for receivers for Cleveland. So Jeff Driscoll would just have to toss it something like 10 times.
So yeah, that would be nice. The other thing that I do think about is what are they going to do with Jerome Ford, right? Kareem Hunt, are those guys going to play? I find it hard to believe that they would bench Joe Flacco for this game, sit him for this game, rest him in effect, and keep their running
backs. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah,
it doesn't really make much sense to me. So
you're asking for injury.
Yeah, I would see what happens with a Pierre Strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a guy that we know is they trust him, they like him. So could he get a ton of opportunities in this game against the Bengals rush defense, which allows the 8th most PPR points to the position over the last 3 games. So the matchup here is nice. Again, it's just a matter of chasing down that information and seeing what those actives and inactives look like on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the Cincinnati side, a lot easier. They're not playing for anything except for pride at this point.
Yeah.
So load up on your Cincinnati Bengals, really, right? Joe Mixon, I think he's got to be an RB1. I think Jamar Chase probably going to be in a wide receiver 2 territory for me when it's all said and done. Just because in a week like this, man, it's like, yeah, we could get lost in the numbers and the projections and stuff, but Jamar Chase is better than 95% of the wide receivers that are going to play football this weekend.
Yep.
So he should be in your lineup. And then obviously Tanner Hudson, my tight end stream of the week, is there to provide some relief at the tight end position.
Yeah.
Moving on to this next game here. We've got the 9-7 Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Tennessee to take on the 5-11 Tennessee Titans. This game has a 39.5-point total, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are 5.5-point favorites on the road. Trevor Lawrence, the big question was, is he going to play? And the answer seems to be more leaning towards yes, that he will play in this game. He did return to practice yesterday, practiced again today. So he's on track to start this Sunday. That being said, I will take the under. I'll take the Jacksonville Jags to cover, and I'll take the Jags to win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I'll take the Titans to cover, but I'll take the Jags to win.
Yeah, the Titans are playing for nothing but pride. Like we talked about earlier, Jacksonville, they win the AFC South by winning this game. They can still clinch a playoff berth by tying this game, and Pittsburgh either loses or ties, as well as another scenario that involves Pittsburgh losing, Denver losing, or tying, and then the Houston and Indy game doesn't end in a tie. So a lot of interesting caveats there. I'm curious, like, whose job it is to go through all these scenarios, because I mean, probably a computer, but either way, like, before this, that must have been a pain to go through. But all that being said, Trevor Lawrence, I think you got to treat him as a QB1 in this matchup. It's tough, right? Because he's coming back. He's coming back from the shoulder. Tennessee allows the 26th most fantasy points to the quarterback position over the last 3 games, but Jacksonville has to win this game. Like, they have to.
Trevor Lawrence is. I mean, they've won without him being Trevor Lawrence. I guess, like the Trevor Lawrence we thought we were gonna expect this year. So I'll have him as a borderline QB1, because there's not really a lot of options. So he'll probably finish at 12 in that 12. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like most weeks probably not gonna put him up here, but I mean, Tyler Huntley or Trevor Lawrence?
I don't know. I might go Tyler Huntley.
Evan Ingram gonna be a tight end 1 for sure. I think he's the one constant in this offense. Travis Etienne, he has a tough spot as well. The Tennessee Titans 27th most fantasy points allowed to the running back position over the last 3 games. So Etienne probably going to be a running back 2. Do you have him in that area?
Yeah, I think so.
And then Calvin Ridley probably has the best matchup of the bunch here. How are we feeling about Calvin Ridley this week?
I think he's a wide receiver, low wide receiver 2. There are some speculation that Christian Kirk might be activated also for this game. So they'll probably, I guess, rev him up a little bit. So might take away some touches. All 3 of the receivers are going to be in. So yeah, I'll say Ridley is lower in wide receiver 2.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you there. I have Ridley as a wide receiver 2 as well. They did open up the practice window for the 21-day window for Christian Kirk, so definitely a possibility that he does return to action. From the Tennessee side, Derrick Henry is an RB3. Are you playing D-Hop?
I think he needs some yards for some money, so yeah, I'll play D-Hop. Yeah.
It's crazy to think, but DeAndre Hopkins has 1,000 yards this year. Like, literally doesn't feel like it.
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Most of that must have come like between weeks 6
that first game of Will Levis, that 4 touchdown game. There were some bombs in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was really concentrated between a span of 8 to 10 weeks.
Yep. Yep.
Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
Moving on to this next one here, the 8-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Carolina, take on the 2-14 Carolina Panthers, where this game has a 37.5-point total, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 4.5-point favorites on the road here. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Bucks to cover, Bucks to win.
I am seeing it the same exact way as you. Any interest in the Carolina side?
Chuba Hubbard, maybe.
And I've been a Chuba Hubbard supporter.
I know.
And I'm like, makes me a little uncomfortable.
RB3, I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, you could only run for so many yards and not score touchdowns and be a valuable fantasy asset on a bad team.
Yeah.
So, that being said, he's probably the only guy I'm targeting. Jonathan Mingo went on the injured reserve. And that's the other thing, right? You'll see random guys. Not random guys, but you'll see guys, if they have a 1-week injury, they're going on the IR because teams are going to, they want to, pull a practice squad guy up, reward him for, hard work or see how he does in a game-like environment. And so they're in the evaluation mode. So Jonathan Mingo, I don't even know what the injury was, didn't hear anything about it. But the fact that he quietly went on the injured reserve makes me think it wasn't all that serious. So it becomes very hard to trust anybody there. So receiver-wise, like maybe DJ Shark gets no.
Thielen, that'd be. Yeah.
I mean, they'll probably get the same amount of targets. I mean, Tampa Bay is a bad pass defense, right? Like, let's not lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Fifth most points allowed to quarterbacks. 16th most to wide receivers.
Game.
Bryce is coming off.
Yeah.
Two solid games.
Yeah.
So,
Thielen and Shark, I think, are in the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And whoever the tight end is, because some weeks it's Tommy Tremble, some weeks it's.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, on the Tampa Bay side, it's Carolina's been a pretty good pass defense.
Ain't no one stopping Mike Evans, man. Again, his.
Look, I'm with you. Evans will be in my lineup for sure if I'm playing. If I'm not, but
maybe Godwin, we can, but he's been strong of late, so I think he's worth the play as well.
Honestly, going to put them both down as wide receiver 2s and kind of see what happens. Like Evans probably be on the higher end because Carolina's been like really 31st.
Yeah.
Most PPR points allowed to the wide receiver position.
Hoping that Baker is not too hurt enough to make those throws and stuff like that because he's going to play, but rib injury is tough.
It is tough, but the thing is that makes it even tougher though is this. And I got the feeling yesterday, and I could be totally off base here, but it's like they said at the start of the week, he'll be fine, like he's gonna play, and then he goes. They had practice yesterday, and they said, if it was a full practice, like he wasn't gonna participate, and it's like. Are they trying to send out this signal like, Baker's fine, but like, is it going to be Kyle Trask at 1 p.m. on Sunday? Like,
he was struggling. I mean, it's a playoff game for them. That's why you're like, oh, he's gonna find a way, So I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, Baker literally did play for Cleveland with one arm.
Yeah.
So I think he'll do whatever he has to get out there, especially because this is a playoff game. But Tampa Bay needs to win this game in order to win the division. If they tie and New Orleans loses or ties, they will win the division, and they can clinch a playoff berth with a tie and a Seattle loss or a Green Bay loss or a tie there. So a lot of things can go. A few things can go their way, but the easiest way to get this done is to win this game. Anything else on this game, Greg, before we move on?
Rashad White, that's all you got to say, really.
That is a fact. Rashad White.
That's the biggest lock.
RB1 season continues.
Yes, sir.
Kate Otten getting tons of cardio?
Yeah.
Moving on to this next matchup here, we got the 6-10 New York Jets traveling to Foxborough to take on the 4-12 New England Patriots. This game has a 30.5 point total. The New England Patriots are 1.5 point favorites at home. Belichick could be coaching his potentially final game in New England, his final game against the Jets as a New England Patriots coach, where He's beaten them 15 straight times. And shocker here, I think they get it 16 straight because I'm taking the under, taking the New England Patriots to cover. I'm taking the New England Patriots to win this game.
Yep, absolutely. I'm with you there. Also, Patriots winning, and that does help Giants draft positioning. So I definitely need the Patriots to win this game.
In terms of the fantasy matchups here, it's not particularly pretty, but Zeke is probably, I mean, I've been saying this every week. Zeke's an RB1.
Yeah.
Zeke's an RB1. Has not finished as an RB1, like literally has not. But I'm going to say it again. Zeke is an RB1 this week. Hunter Henry, like you said, your stream of the week. Great matchup here for him. But I think that's all I'm touching on the New England side.
Yeah, there's no need to really dive in and go hard for anyone else.
On the New York Jets side, Breece Hall, just roll him out there, right? He's been basically, like you said, if you survived week 1 of the fantasy playoffs with Breece Hall, like you probably either won a championship or you played Kyron Williams and Lamar Jackson and CeeDee Lamb. Garrett Wilson, thoughts on him? New England allows the 20th most PPR points to the position over the last 3 games, and he's, without Zach Wilson, kind of been operating as a wide receiver 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think he's a 2 for me. Yeah, that's why I'm always gonna have him. Yeah, for this season at least.
Yeah, I have him as a 3, but at this point we're just like picking hairs, man. Anything else on this game? Probably not.
No.
Yeah. Moving on to this next one here. We got the 7-9 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Detroit to take on the 11-5 Detroit Lions. This game has a 45.5 point total. The Detroit Lions are 3-point favorites at home. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Detroit to cover and Detroit to win.
I have issues with this game because Detroit, they can't move.
That's not the Dan Cameron. That's not Detroit versus everybody mentality, I don't know. Yeah, they seem to be playing everyone though.
Yeah, I mean the lines seem to indicate that. I mean the betting lines indicate that, right? But in terms of actual seeding, they're almost assuredly locked into the number 3 seed in the playoffs, but they would need to only beat Minnesota in week 18. But both the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles need to lose in order for them to move to the number 2 seed.
So it's a possibility. I mean, the way the Eagles are playing, you never know. Yeah, they probably think they can slide in there. Maybe Dallas, Washington get an upset, but yeah.
And they won't have an answer to that until after 425.
Smart for the NFL.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you just operate as if the Lions are playing, and you kind of go from there. Minnesota, however, they need to win this game. If they win, Green Bay loses, Seattle loses, Tampa Bay loses, or they win, Green Bay loses, Seattle loses, New Orleans loses. Well, I guess, yeah, if one of those scenarios happens, the Minnesota Vikings are in the playoffs. Crazy to think. But that being said, Minnesota Vikings are going to be playing for something. The Detroit Lions, I guess, in their minds are playing for something.
Detroit versus Dan Campbell, baby.
This game gets out of hand in either direction, I could very well see the Detroit Lions pulling their guys.
Absolutely.
So, Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver 1. Jahmyr Gibbs. Sam Laporta.
Yeah, David Montgomery.
Yep. Jared Goff, even.
Jared Goff is in a good spot.
Right. I'm even going to throw out Jameson Williams.
I like that, especially for the theory that if they do pull their starters, he would probably continue to get some action too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I like that there. On the Minnesota side, I think you go all in on your Minnesota guys. I believe it'll be Nick Mullins this week. I don't know if we have confirmation on that. because
I
our
don't think
guy
you could trust it too, though. Yeah, with that, if he's even thought about being pulled throughout the game, you never know.
I don't think they're gonna pull Nick Mullins. I think Nick Mullins is one of those things they just ride the experience out,
Oh man.
They just ride it out. They're like, hey man, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, we'll take it, man. But yeah, I mean, I think he would be a QB2 this week. If he does play, Justin Jefferson got to be a wide receiver 1 for sure. Jordan Addison probably a wide receiver 3, and then Ty Chandler, who started out hot in his first start, slowed down a little bit, but I'll probably have him down as an RB3.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'll probably bump Addison up a bit to wide receiver 2. That's about it.
Fair enough. Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
Moving on to the 425 window, we've got the 7-9 Chicago Bears traveling to Green Bay to take on the 8-8 Green Bay Packers. This game has a 44.5 point total. Green Bay Packers are 3-point favorites. Very, very simple for the Green Bay Packers. You win and you are in. Outside of that, they would need a ton of help, and I'm not going to get into that because, again, just focus on the win and in. So that being said, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take Green Bay to cover. I'm going to take Green Bay to win.
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the Bears to cover, but I'll still take Green Bay to win. It'll be a little tight one for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chasing that 3-point cover. Justin Fields got to be QB1 this week.
Absolutely.
I mean, this Green Bay defense is horrific. Which makes me really want Green Bay to make the playoffs, man, because that round 1 would be wild. A lot of points. Yeah. But anyway, Justin Fields, QB1, DJ Moore, wide receiver 1, and Cole Kmet, a tight end 1. How are you handling the running back situation there for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I don't think I want to trust it, but if I have to choose one, Khalil Herbert be my guy. I think, at this point, Dante Foreman's probably going to be another healthy scratch again. So I'm going to just stick with Khalil Herbert being an RB2, low on RB2.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at as well. I would lean with Herbert. I probably copped out because I have Herbert as an RB3 and Roschon as an RB3 with Herbert slightly higher. But with the way you put it out there probably is a little bit more accurate, right? Herbert finishing as an RB2 with Roschon probably in the RB3 range.
Yeah.
On the Green Bay side, Jordan Love got to be a QB1 this week.
Yep.
Aaron Jones probably going to be an RB2 for me. How do you feel about Aaron Jones this week?
Yeah, I agree with you on that, RB2.
And then Tucker Kraft, love his spot this week. Going to be a tight end 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the wide receiver situation is getting a little weird because Christian Watson returned. So I guess the question isn't more of like, how does that impact Jaden Reed? I think it's more of a question of like, are you playing Christian Watson?
First game back from injury. I mean, this is not new to a Christian Watson. It's a game that they need. I still think Jaden Reed is the primary pass catcher in this offense. But I think Christian Watson slides into a wide receiver 3 flex option.
Yeah, I could see that, especially with how aggressively Jordan Love is throwing the ball down the field now.
Yeah.
He's just kind of letting it rip at this point. So I think that obviously feeds into Christian Watson's game very well. Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
Moving on to the 11-5 Dallas Cowboys traveling to Washington to take on the 4-12 Washington Commanders. This game has a 45.5 point total, and the Dallas Cowboys are 13.5 point favorites. Like we talked about, Dallas can clinch the NFC East with a win or a tie, and Philly tie or a Philadelphia loss. So very simple for Dallas here. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm taking over. Give me Dallas to cover. Give me Dallas to win. Actually, I'm gonna take Washington to cover just because they're home, but I'll take Dallas to win still.
Yeah, I'm going the under. I'm going Washington to cover, Dallas to win. And the reason I'm picking Washington to cover, because I'm actually thinking of a backdoor cover here.
Yeah.
Right? Like Dallas gets up big. pulls their guys.
Yep.
And hopes their backups just, finish it off, and maybe Washington can cover at the end there. But all that being said, CD wide receiver one, like this is
the wide receiver one.
The wide receiver one on the week. Tony Pollard, an RB2.
Yep.
I mean, the matchup here is nice. Washington allows the most PPR points to the running back position, so it's really nice there. And then Jake Ferguson, man, I know the matchup looks tough on paper, but I think with Dallas, looking to clinch the NFC East here, I think you got to treat Ferguson as a tight end one.
Yeah, tight end one for sure. Dak, I think he's also in the QB1 territory. Like if he's able to play 3 quarters, I think he can get still close to 300 yards.
Yeah, and this is the team that I'm like the least afraid of, right? Because A, they need to win. B, I know that there's a possibility that they'll pull their starters, but that's only after they've
destroyed them.
They've gone up big.
So
I'm literally not afraid. Like, because CeeDee Lamb could put up like 100 yards and a touchdown in a half of football against Washington. Dak can go for 250 and 3 or 250 and 2 in like 3 quarters. Like, I'm not even really tripping off the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Washington, it's interesting because Brian Robinson is in a really nice spot. Just returned back from the hamstring injury. Only, I think it was like nine or so PPR points last week, or maybe 10 PPR points last week. But the Dallas Cowboys allowed the 3rd most PPR points for the running back position over their last 3 games. Robinson's in a really nice spot. Almost went with him for start of the week, but I just couldn't go with a 13.5-point dog as the start of the week here. But what are your thoughts on Brian Robinson and what his potential is this week?
Yeah, I think he's a solid RB2. I think the guy I want the most prior on this team is Terry McLaurin for this week, being a strong wide receiver too.
Yeah, and I'm with you there, Terry, as well. Terry's going to be a strong wide receiver too. However, I just wanted to make sure I got out there that I do like Brian Robinson a lot this week. So, anything else on this matchup, Greg?
No.
Moving on to the next one here, we've got the 8-8 Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona to take on the 4-12 Arizona Cardinals. This game has a 47.5-point total. The Seahawks are 2.5-point favorites. Seattle basically can still make the playoffs. They need to win. They need Green Bay to lose or tie. Then if they can also get in, if they tie, Green Bay loses, Tampa Bay loses, or ties, or Seattle ties, Green Bay loses, and New Orleans loses. Basically, win and hope Green Bay loses, I think, is the best, most direct route there. That being said, I'm going with the under here. I'm going with Seattle to cover, Seattle to win.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to take Arizona to cover and Arizona to win.
I like that one here. Because it is, both these teams are, I think they're equally matched. I mean, the spread kind of says so a little bit as well. So all that being said, I think James Conner's in a great spot here as an RB1. Kyler Murray in a good spot as well to finish as a quarterback 1. And then Trey McBride, man, tight end 1.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
On the Seattle side, I think Geno Smith is a QB1. I mean, Arizona allows the most fantasy points to the quarterback position over their last 3 games. So obviously in a must win, I think Geno shows out big. Kenneth Walker, who's been running really well these last few weeks. Arizona allows the 4th most PPR points to the position. So I think Kenneth Walker's in line for another RB1 type day. And then at the wide receiver position, Tyler Lockett has been it's been slow to say the least, but DK Metcalf has been coming on strong, so probably have him as a strong wide receiver 2 this week. Greg, where are you at with the on the Seattle side?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. DK, Tyler, you're starting them. DK, I think, has the higher upside. Kenneth Walker, I think, has the best matchup of everybody. So you're starting him with confidence as a low on RB1, I think, in this matchup. And yeah, Geno should be in a great spot as well.
Yeah. We did just get some news regarding the Houston Texans. Noah Brown has been ruled out of this game, as well as defensive end Jonathan Grenard for the Houston Texans. So those are I think the Grenard loss is probably a bigger one.
Yeah.
But Noah Brown is somewhat significant as well. Anything else on this game, Greg, before we move on?
No.
Moving on to the 9-7 LA Rams traveling to San Francisco to take on the 12-4 San Francisco 49ers. This game has a 41.5 point total. San Francisco 49ers are 3.5 point favorites. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Rams to cover but San Fran to win somehow. Not sure what's gonna happen, but that's I think the result will be.
We've already been told by both these teams. Carson Wentz will start for the Rams. Matthew Stafford will not, as well as Sam Darnold will start for the San Francisco 49ers, and Brock Purdy will not. I, for one, as a Sam Darnold stan, I'm very excited to see Sam Darnold start a whole game.
Got a good matchup
for Kyle Shanahan. I mean, look, I almost went, just saying, start of the week, I almost went here, but I didn't, so, because I don't know who he's throwing the ball to.
I mean, maybe the backups will try to prove that they're much better than the starters for the Rams secondary, but yeah, I don't know. But
so,
that's a good matchup.
This game is going to be very interesting because I think the two things that we know, we'll start with the Rams side, with the one thing that we know, is that Stafford, Kupp, and Kyren Williams, Aaron Donald, all not playing. Puka Nacua is the only offensive player who's starting and playing in this game, but that's at a cap, right? Because he only needs four. He only needs 4 receptions for the rookie reception record, and he needs 30 or so yards for the rookie yardage record. So once he gets those, it kind of seems like he's out the game. You do some quick math, 4 for 30, that's 7 PPR points.
Yeah.
That ain't going to do you much.
No, I mean, you could put that bet in, though, for sure, but I wouldn't, yeah.
I mean, the books already know.
They have to know. They have to know.
Right? They already know. If anything, I mean, shoot. Let me see if I could go take a look. Because if anything, like, maybe they're probably going to set it at 3.5.
Yeah.
No, but then that's stupid because you set it at 3.5. I don't know.
You just take the over.
You just take the over. But if they set it at 4.5, you just take the under.
Yeah, unless it's like on one drive, he gets like 2 in one drive and then like bam.
He could literally get 4 in one drive.
He could.
Yeah, we're not getting player props right now. So, but either way, I'm not trusting Puka. Ronnie Rivers. No Kyren.
I mean, I think Sam Darnold is probably. You got me with Sam. I think. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but that's all I got for you.
But we also get Elijah Mitchell.
Okay. Yes, we do get Elijah Mitchell. So yeah, I'm with that. I think the volume. He'll probably get the most volume out of everyone in the game. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see what happens with the starters, or what who they're going to start at running back. I would think it's Ronnie Rivers. But if they, I'm not opposed to
whoever the RB1 is, they're going to get probably all the touches.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, we're talking about playing Melvin Gordon. Like, I'll play Ronnie Rivers. Like, give me like, but anything else on this game?
No.
Yeah, I did not think so. Did I give my picks? I'm going over San Fran to cover, San Fran to win.
Okay, yeah.
Moving on to this next matchup here, we got the 11-5 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to MetLife to take on the 5-11 New York Giants. This game has a 41.5 point total, and the Philadelphia Eagles are 5.5 point favorites. The Eagles are playing for the NFC East, but they need help. They have to win, and Dallas has to lose or tie. And if Philadelphia ties, then they need a Dallas loss. But these games kick off at the same time, so we're not going to have any inclination of what those things will look like. Nick Sirianni, the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, had talked about being a possibility that they sit their guys in this game. Again, I mean, if you just assume Dallas is going to lose, Dallas is going to win, then it probably makes sense. But in your eyes,
they'll be
I
peeking
guess,
at the scoreboard by halftime for sure.
oh yeah, for sure. But I will take the over here. I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I'm going to take the Giants to win the game.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I'll take the Eagles to cover and the Eagles to win.
I don't know
second
why
half, if they do pull their guys, it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Nick Sirianni would say that unless he's truly considering it. Because, I mean, you still have a chance to win the NFC East, right? There's it's not like, oh, we're playing for seeding. Like, no, you're playing for the right to host a playoff game. You're playing in round one.
Yeah.
Right. But you actually, because they can clinch the 2 seed, right?
Yeah, but that would still be playing at least round one. Yeah, either the 2 seed or a 5 seed. It'll be.
Yeah, I mean, so regardless, you're playing round one. But
yeah
so I almost my brain went back to the old days for a second.
Yeah.
But you're playing round one regardless, right? So at that point, like you would want to host a home playoff game, I would think, right? But they must really truly believe that they don't have the ability to do that because of Dallas's situation. But either way, Ty God. Quarterback won this week in a good matchup here against Philly. Saquon Barkley and RB2. I mean, Philly's been getting run on these last few weeks. Darius Slayton, he's hot, so I think you got to keep rolling with him.
Yep.
Any other Giants pieces?
You can give me with Wando, I think. I mean, they both went off last week. Similarly, I mean, Darius Slayton was able to go off against the Eagles, a couple weeks ago, but I think Wando, especially when his rushing, his jet sweep stuff, it can get involved.
What about Darren Waller?
Yeah, but super low floor, I think. Honestly,
yeah, I'm with you there. On the Philadelphia side, how are you trusting the Eagles pieces?
I do still like Hurts because I still think he can get a touchdown at least himself, like rushing. So I think he can provide a solid floor. I do think they'll probably want to not force it to AJ Brown, but do kind of get him a groove, make him a little happy before playoff time. So I think he does get involved too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think I could see a big AJ Brown game just because there's possibility there's no Devontae Smith. Then there's all this stuff about him being a problem in the locker room and these things like. Yeah, get that man to football. I think is going to be a big part of the game plan come Sunday. Dallas Goedert, I think you can probably trust him as a tight end one.
Yep.
Just because the Giants are so bad against the position. And then DeAndre Swift. I mean, unless your fantasy team, no, never mind. I would play Swift as like an RB2 or 3, but I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, same.
Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
Moving on to the 8-8 Denver Broncos traveling to Las Vegas to take on the 7-9 Las Vegas Raiders. This game has a 37.5 point total. The Las Vegas Raiders are 2.5 point favorites. Neither one of these teams are playing for anything other than pride. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Vegas to cover and Vegas to win.
With you right there. Are you playing anybody on the Denver side?
Portland Sutton, if he's able to go.
That's probably it, right? Like, if he's able to go, literally, that's it.
Yeah.
On the Raiders side, Devontae Adams, wide receiver
Devontae
1.
Adams, yes, sir.
Zamir White, I think he's earned a role regardless of what happens with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he's in there.
So if Jacobs doesn't play, Zamir White will be, I think, an RB2, high-end RB2 with some RB1 upside.
Yep.
If Jacobs does play, I think they'll both be RB2s.
Yep.
Anything else on this game?
No.
Moving on to the next one, we've got the 10-6 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Los Angeles to take on the 5-11 Los Angeles Chargers. This game has a 35 point total, and the Los Angeles Chargers are 3.5 point favorites. Patrick Mahomes is not playing in this game. Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna still take the Chiefs to cover and the Chiefs to win, though.
I'm going to take the under with the Chargers to cover and the Chargers to win. I don't think I can trust any Kansas City player.
No, especially now with Mahomes in there. They were struggling with that man in there. Well, I don't think they will do any better without him.
I mean, like, I don't even think, like, if you're not playing Mahomes, it doesn't make sense to play Travis Kelce.
Nope.
Doesn't make sense to play Isaiah Pacheco.
Nope.
Doesn't make sense to play Rashee Rice.
No.
Like, yeah, no, I'm not even going to fix my mouth to say the names that I want to come out my mouth. So,
Yeah.
On the Chargers side,
Keenan Allen.
Is Keenan Allen playing?
Oh,
I thought that man was done. I thought he was done.
Let me see. Let's think of this possibility. He's questionable right now.
Nope, he's unlikely to play.
Okay, then no. Nope.
And now there's Khalil Mack. So
Gerald Everett.
Gerald Everett, tight end one
Yes,
option.
Yep.
Austin Eckler, RB2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on this game?
No.
Oh man, Sunday Night Football.
Here we go.
The 10-6 Buffalo Bills traveling to Miami to take on the 11-5 Miami Dolphins. We have an AFC East title game on our hands.
Yep.
Both these teams, either one of these teams win, they win the AFC East. They get to play a home playoff game. Miami's already clinched a playoff berth no matter what.
Yeah.
But Buffalo can make the playoffs still with some help. A Pittsburgh loss, a Jacksonville loss, or Pittsburgh loss or tie, a Jacksonville loss or tie, or Houston and Indianapolis tie. Or if Buffalo ties with Miami, they will make the playoffs here as well. Mm-hmm. So all that being said, this game has a 49.5 point total, and the Buffalo Bills are 3-point favorites on the road here. I'm going with the over. I'm taking the Bills to cover. I'm taking the Bills to win.
Absolutely. You got to go with that. Bills desperate. They know how to, really hone in on big games. They dominated them the first time in Buffalo. Bills Mafia.
Yeah, man. I will not say that statement you just said because that jersey hanging on my back in the back behind my wall. But anyway, Josh Allen, QB1.
Yes, sir.
James Cook has been disappointing these last couple weeks, but I think you got to put them out there as an RB2. And then Stephon Diggs has also been disappointing, but I think he's a strong wide receiver too in this matchup.
Yeah.
Any thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. Dalton Kincaid probably the only other player I'd throw out there as like a.
Yep, I think Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah,
he's definitely a tight end one for sure. On the Miami side, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1. Jalen Waddle, they said that they're hopeful he can go, but they're not counting on him to play. Greg, you're trying to look like you're fixing your face to say something, so I'm gonna just give you the floor right now. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if you can trust it. I mean, it'd be a game time decision. It's really tough. Like, I think you can try to find another option rather than deal with the headache at this point.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. How are you dealing with the running back situation this week?
Yeah, Mostert, HN, they're both playable. I think Mostert has slight higher upside as a RB2 and HN as a RB3.
Yeah, I would agree with that there as well. Probably would have HN as an RB2. Just curious to see what the injury looks like for there for Raheem Mostert coming back from that. So any interest in Tua?
I'm weary of Tua. I think, yeah, just in, against tougher defense, against a harder schedule, he, definitely doesn't do as well. So there's some, I think, other match. He might fall into high in QB2. borderline QB 1 week, but you can probably find some others hotter matchups, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really into Tua this week either.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find it difficult to get excited there. All right, anything else on this matchup?
No.
Moving on to that money time, man. Those starts of the week. Greg, why don't you kick it off with your quarterback start of the week this week?
Yeah, got to go with CJ Stroud, man, going against Indy. He's got this matchup here. Must win for him. It's a great matchup. He's got his people, no Noah Brown, but he's got Nico Collins, got Dalton Schultz. I think that is enough for him to make it happen and have a big day.
Yeah, I like that one. Obviously, we love some CJ Stroud here.
Yes,
My
sir.
quarterback start of the week, I'm going with Tyrod Taylor. Going up against Philadelphia. He's going to lead people to championships for the second week in a row, man. I mean, threw for over 300 last week while running for 40 yards on the ground. That 40 yards rushing is the equivalent of another touchdown pass in standard quarterback scoring. So he's got a matchup against Philly, like I said, where he accumulated almost 10 fantasy points and a half against Philadelphia. And just last week, Philly allowed a 3-touchdown game to Kyler Murray. I'm all about Tyrod this week, man. Start him up.
Yeah, man. You've been, the best giant quarterback we've had all season, man. Start him up.
Yes, sir. Greg, your running back start of the week this week. What do you got?
Yeah, going Devin Singletary in that same matchup, going against, Indy. They're weak against the pass, but they're even much weaker against the run. So I think Devin Singletary will be here, passing, rushing, doing what he's got to do for this team to get this win.
Yeah, definitely like that one. I'm gonna go with James Conner going up against Seattle. He's been awesome down this last stretch of the season. He's had at least 14.9 PPR points over his last 4 games. Absolutely rolling, and faces off against the Seattle rush defense that's allowed the 5th most PPR points to the position over their last 3 games, man. So let James Conner win that Week 18 championship for you.
Yes, sir.
And your wide receiver start of the week this week, Greg. What do you got?
Yeah, I gotta sneak in one reach deep in the bag play. I think that's Cedric Tillman going against Cincinnati. Matchup's really good in this week, and with all the starters being out for Cleveland, Cedric Tillman's got to be the next man up to step up, get a lot of volume, and play well against them. I think I gotta put a deep in the bag play ever since you did Greg Ward years ago. So we gotta keep the last week wide receiver going.
Yo, I forgot about that.
Greg Ward, versus
Greg
the Giants.
Ward, he went off.
He went off, man.
Oh man. So did Boston Scott, but Boston Scott always does that.
Yeah, he does.
Oh man. My man went from practice squad to like fantasy player of the week. Oh man. Well, my wide receiver start of the week is not deep in the bag. It's actually right there in front of your face, and you probably have been struggling with him out there these last 4 weeks. But if you are here in this spot, I highly recommend you start Stephon Diggs going up against the Miami Dolphins. This is a confident start of the week here. Diggs has been down bad, man. PPR totals of 6.4, 8.8, 7.9, and 7.1 over his last 4. But the targets have still been there, averaging over 7 targets per game during that span. I think in a must-win game for Buffalo, a middle-of-the-road matchup as the Miami Dolphins allow the 17th most PPR points to the position. I think Diggs will be a part of the reason why the Bills pull this win off and win the AFC East.
Yeah, man, totally with you there. Diggs got to come through in a big-time matchup.
Yes, sir. Greg, your tight end start of the week this week.
Gotta go Jared Everett here. In this matchup going against the Chiefs, the matchup is really good, and this man had gotten at least 8 targets in his last 4 ball games. So he's been probably the primary receiver for this team. So I think that this will be a spot for him where he can get in the end zone, at least give you a solid floor with at least 5 receptions in this game.
Yeah, I like that one, and that's saying a lot because I typically don't like Gerald Everett. But my tight end start of the week, I'm going with Tucker Kraft going up against Chicago. Steady Eddie over here. Kraft is exactly 6 targets in 4 of his last 5 games since taking over as the tight end 1 for Luke Musgrave, scoring double digits in all but 1 game during that span. Now gets a matchup against Chicago, allowing the 10th most PPR points to the position over their last 3 games. Love this spot here for Kraft to be a nice blow-up game for him.
Yeah, love that here. Tucker Kraft been, one of the biggest pickups, I think, just holding franchises down, managers down, especially with his pickup throughout the season.
Most definitely. And now it's time for Greg's favorite segment, man. Get money. The Greg Penniman Invitational, as he once dubbed it. And I'll call it that. And I mean, he's won this year. I did beat him last week.
You did.
And last week I was just like, hey, I'm gonna just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So, and apparently that's when I won. So we'll see what happens. But Greg, it is your pick. You get the first pick. So cause me pain.
Yeah, give me Josh Allen, quarterback. With the first pick, I just need to get him in there. I'll figure out how cheap I'm gonna go with for the rest of the picks.
Oh, that's fine. My wide receiver, my first pick, I'm going with CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
10,000 against Washington.
My first running back, I'm gonna take Rachaad White, 7,700, going against Carolina.
I anticipated that because that's who I had in my lineup here, but it's okay. I got money. For my first running back, give me James Conner. My running back start of the week, 7,300, going up against Seattle.
For my first wide receiver, give me Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8,800, going against Minnesota.
For my second wide receiver, give me Darius Slayton, 5,700, going up against Philly.
Love that there. My second RB, give me. You didn't take James Conner, right?
I did.
You did.
Because I knew you were gonna try to, so I did.
Give me Bijan Robinson, 6,900.
Okay.
Yeah, going against New Orleans.
Wow. My second running back. I love when things work out like this because my second running back is Breece Hall, who I was going to take before, but I was like, no, he's $200 more expensive. He probably can't afford Breece, but there's a way he could squeeze in James Conner. So I love when stuff works out like that. So go with Breece Hall as my second running back, 75.
Give me my wide receiver start of the week, Cedric Tillman, as my second wide receiver, 5,300.
Nice. I'm going with Greg Dortch.
Okay.
As my third wide receiver, 5,500, going up against Seattle.
As my third wide receiver, give me DJ Moore, 8,000, going against Green Bay.
In my tight end slot, give me my tight end start of the week, Tucker Kraft, 5,300, going up against Chicago.
For my defense, I'm gonna take the Cincinnati Bengals defense, 4,000.
Just trying to see if I could spend my money in a different way now. Ooh, this could cause me pain. Do I really want to do that? Sorry, I'm like tilting live.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, actually, we're not live. So technically, I'm not tilting live. All right, I'm just gonna put my money where my mouth is. Give me for my flex, Brian Robinson, 6,300, going up against the Dallas Cowboys.
And my flex, I'm gonna take Pierre Strong, 4,600, going against Cincy.
For my defense, I'm going with the New York Jets, 4,600, going up against New England.
Love it.
I think you have one more pick.
Because
I have one more pick.
Oh, Jared Everett, take him, tight end, 5,200.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
For my quarterback, I'm going with Tyrod. My quarterback. My quarterback start of the week, 7,000, going up against Philly.
Nice.
So, Greg, why don't you read off your lineup? What do you got?
I got at my quarterback position, 9,500, Josh Allen, going against Miami. Rachaad White, 7,700 at the first RB spot. Bijan Robinson at the second spot, 6,900, going against New Orleans. DJ Moore, 8,000, going against Green Bay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8,800, going against Minnesota. Cedric Tillman, third wide receiver, 5,300, going against Cincy. Jared Everett, 5,200 going against Kansas City in my tight end spot. At the flex, I have Pierre Strong, 4,600 going against Cincy as well, and the Cincinnati Bengals defense, 4,000.
Yeah, for me, I got Tyrod Taylor, my quarterback start of the week, 7,000 going up against Philly. Brees Hall, 7,500 going up against New England. James Conner, 7,300, my running back start of the week, going up against Seattle. CeeDee Lamb, 10,000 going up against Washington. Darius Slayton, 5,700 going up against Philly. Greg Dortch, 5,500 going up against Seattle. Tucker Kraft, 5,300, my tight end start of the week, going up against Chicago. Brian Robinson, 6,300. Honorable mention start of the week, going up against Dallas. And then New York Jets defense, 4,600 going up against New England.
Yeah, I don't see why people, if they want to play Week 18 so bad, just do DFS. Like, this is the perfect week for DFS, Week 18.
Yeah, because it's literally all information.
Yeah,
It's going to be all information. Everybody, good luck in your championships. Again, sorry we could not be live, so you're watching the pre-recorded show, but we will be back with y'all next Thursday, do a nice little recap, some accountability, as well as some bragging as well. So, Greg, anything you want to say to the people before we close this one out?
No, I'm hoping we get, the games that matter. I hope they're all good and great. We get some special moments before Wild Card Weekend.
Yes, sir. Until next time, y'all, have a good one. Good luck in your championships. And I don't have to say that caveat because me and Greg don't play in Week 18. So good luck in all your scenarios.
Yeah,
and hopefully you win and enjoy some good football this week.